We're gonna crank this out. Be efficient. I'm going through my trash can on my computer. Being efficient. Also, I'm a professional editor. I'm gonna cut this out. That also shows that I'm a professional editor.
You have a file called Jakey Wakey.
And Andy Mandy. And Jonah intervals. So I'm professional.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get paid.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, professional in all other meanings. So, like, none. Welcome to Toon-Mates. A delayed Toon-Mates, but still coming out nonetheless. This week, talking Bojack Horseman. I'm Travell.
I'm Ricki.
So Bojack Horseman is fucking the show that I forgot to write the year down in my notes. And I wrote, like, basically a paragraph. But I forgot to write what year it officially started in.
I think 2014. I think it was August 2014.
Yes, 2014.
Yeah.
A 2014 show that premiered on Netflix, which I think is the only Netflix original that's an animated show. If I can guess.
Would you consider Knights of Sidonia
and
to be animated?
I don't know. But I also don't know the whole history of that one, whether that's like an acquired one.
Who does?
Whether it's an acquired one that they slap their name on, or if it's actually an original produced for the show.
That's a good point. Cut that, don't make me look stupid.
But Bojack Horseman, created by Raphael Bob Waksberg, and more, in my opinion, just because it's kind of the look of the show, comes more from the production designer Lisa Hannawalt, who did drawings of the anthropomorphic people, animals, which kind of more inspired the show, more or less. The pair worked together on a webcomic called Tip Me Over, Pour Me Out, which I read a little bit of before recording, and it's interesting. I don't know. It's kind of, it's like it's a bit like, I can't think of the word, but like the kids in high school who think they're talking about life.
Fake deep.
Fake deep. It feels very fake deep with kind of her art style.
Stoner fake deep?
Yeah. Maybe not stoner. And it seems to feature this awkward guy in his mid-20s who's still awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Incredibly awkward. And I read a couple and it was interesting to say the least. But yeah, it felt very fake deep and pretentious. That was...
Oh, okay.
That was kind of more the word I was thinking of. So, in short, Bojack Horseman is about a horse named Bojack Horseman.
In an anthropomorphic... Wow.
It's a hard word.
Yep.
Like, words are hard in general, but that's like level 10.
Mm-hmm. In a world where animals and humans live alongside each other, and no one finds it weird except for the audience.
Mm-hmm. It is... I think everyone who's watched it for the first couple episodes finds it unsettling, weird, and takes some time to get used to.
Yeah, anyone you show the show to, you have to allow a couple episodes for them to go, wait, what? And you just keep telling them, just watch, you get used to it, you get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
And every time you think you're getting used to it, they throw some weird new concept at you, like the flying.
The bird people.
The bird people flying, or like fish people.
Or in the later season, or in season 2 with the chicken farm.
Yeah,
and how they still eat animals.
They really push your disbelief.
I came across the show, well, I'd just seen it on Netflix, never really watched it, but kind of seen the promo image of Bojack Horseman. Thought it looked weird.
When Netflix has a new show that they really want you to watch, they don't let you forget it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think right now, if you go on, you can't look at 3 shows without Master of None posting popping up.
That would be the newest one. I was going to say Scream. I kept seeing that a lot, but I guess Master of None is newer, so that's the new thing to throw in front of everybody's eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't get around to watching it till maybe a month before the second season aired this summer. Mostly because I'd heard a couple things from a guy I worked with talking it up, and a critic I follow online was talking it up pretty heavy, and how excited he was for the second season. So I gave it a try, and I really enjoyed it. In fact, Bojack Horseman, I think, is one of the best adult animated shows ever.
It's great.
Yeah.
I've seen the first episode a bunch of times because I've tried to get so many people to watch the show.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I watch it, there's new little things that I notice. Usually puns. There's a lot of animal puns in it, which is quintessentially my humor, so that's great.
Mm-hmm. The animal, as much as I love the characters and everything else, it's still the animal and the very outlandish world they live in, and just how visually different it is. And just kind of like, if I had known about Lisa Hanawalt's art before watching the show, I probably would have been a fan. And then, like, now I am a fan because of the show. With finding new things, apparently the animation team will often throw in visual jokes that aren't written, and normally, like, the writers and other people just don't see it till the episode is done.
The visual jokes are great. It's like little things like business names in the background and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of make the show at certain points. Like, the show's amazing, the plot is amazing, the dialogue's great, but it's really characteristic of the show to have the visual and punny background jokes.
Mm-hmm. And it, as funny as Bojack Horseman is, would you call it a comedy?
Yeah, I would call it a animated sitcom.
Because I personally kind of more verge on drama.
I would say that comes in more in the second half of the second season. But it's still, even the drama is comedic. I mean, the entire cast is made up of comedians as well, but...
Mm. You got Will Arnett and Aaron Paul, and I didn't write down their names in my notes because I trusted myself.
Alison Brie.
Yeah, that was the one I was struggling with.
Lisa Kudrow was in there.
Mm-hmm. Just a very rounded cast of, like you said, comedians.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of, with the character of Bojack himself, and they're kind of doing the play on it, how often you kind of find comedians will do great dramatic performances.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't do them as much.
That's true.
I think that's said, like, that's kind of where the character arc of Bojack goes too, but also can be said for Will Arnett voicing him. I think it works.
Oh yeah, it definitely does. I would still call it a comedy, though. The dramatic parts of it are really, really great. But I think they're great because of how great the comedy is. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, just kind of like a contrasting things. Like, it's that much, the comedy is that much funnier because other times it's kind of bleak.
Yeah. And even when it's dramatic and you're emotional about it, the bleakness and seriousness of it is still comedic because you're being told all of these existential facts by a talking horse in a blazer. Mm-hmm.
So that has an inherent comedic value.
Exactly.
Okay. It's kind of like 6 Feet Under in that way. That one is a drama.
It's also satirical in a way.
BoJack Horseman? Yeah,
Yeah, it
just
definitely
like
is.
it's a Hollywood
Hollywood.
satire, which is not uncommon, but is one of the better ones I can think of.
And it's not even just Hollywood, it's just culture in general. They sort of deal with.
Yeah, kind of that might lose edge over time, just because it's fairly current, and just the animation and how it's done, it can stay pretty current. So like how in the second season there's parallels to the whole Bill Cosby and one of the Letterman. I don't want to say names in case I get it wrong. One of the late time night show hosts and his affair.
Letterman.
It was Letterman? Okay.
I think so.
So like the parallels to that within the show may lose edge over time just because they're not current anymore.
There'll always be a sex scandal in Hollywood.
That's fair enough.
That's a fair enough?
Yeah. Like there's a fair about it. And there's pizza and deep fried things at this fair. And rides. So
I'm still riding off the high of my pun.
Oof. Talking about riding, Bojack Horseman's goal in life was to play Secretariat, or live up to Secretariat.
Yeah,
he wants to play.
He wants to play Secretariat in a biopic,
which is mostly the plot for the second season.
Yep, spoiler alert, he gets the role. And it sort of parallels his life and his struggles.
That second season got dark. The first season can get dark, but the second season really... And I love the first season, but I've really kind of gained my opinions about the show and how high a standard I hold it to because of the second season.
I think that's really common. From what I was reading in the 5 seconds before we started recording, because every time we record, Travell shows up with big sticky notes full of notes and is like, "Are you ready to record?" And I'm like, "Sure." And then he has all these notes and he makes me look bad.
I was eating my dinner, and I was doing my research and listening to videos, reading wiki, and then I was like, okay, once I finish my dinner, I'll come over and remind Ricki that it's about Bojack Horseman, and so she can do research or stuff like that. And then it was 20 minutes later, and then I forgot, and then we're here.
Yeah, I did take a 2-hour nap today, but I was gonna say something. Oh, the reading I was doing right before we started. Apparently the reviews were really rocky for the first season. They were up and down, but all the fans loved it. And then the second season, it was just it just took off as far as opinion went, because it was so well done. And I feel like because they had already established the world really well in the first season, they get right to the world establishment really early, but because they were already so comfortable with it, that made it a lot easier for them to play with it.
Yeah. But that's almost any show that's not just set in real life or whatever.
All right, fine.
You're making a point. I'm just extending your point, and how it can be used to other shows, and how a lot of shows have a rocky first season as they're still trying to find their identity, or if they have an outlandish world, they're still trying to set it up. And then by the second season, normally they got their groove.
That's true.
It's typically a better second season than first season.
Speaking of groove, the show has a fantastic opening and ending theme.
It's addictive.
It's one of the few times the ending theme is actually probably better than the opening. But the opening animation segment is awesome. I just enjoy the theme for the ending better.
That's fair enough. Back when I worked at a movie theater, one of the guys I worked with, after he watched Bojack Horseman, would play the opening song on repeat, and I never got tired of it. It's that good.
The opening?
So, yeah.
Yeah, the opening is really good. And the animation is really good. But there's something about that ending. I sing it every single time.
Everyone sings the first couple lines.
Yeah, and then Netflix automatically plays the next episode, so everyone only knows like the first couple lines.
Mm-hmm. Unless you get to the last episode in the season, which I can't remember off the top of my head would even play it. The ending. Like,
would it even play it?
Well, a lot of shows, like when it comes to the end of the season, they don't necessarily play the ending theme.
I'm sure it would.
I don't remember, so it's kind of a dumb point I just made. I watched the second season in a day and a half.
Fair enough.
I was there at midnight when it appeared on Netflix. And I watched it through till 4 a.m, and then I worked, and then I watched the rest when I got home from work.
By the time I watched the show, I'm pretty sure both seasons were already out. It was this summer in August.
Yeah, I think it came out in July, so...
Yeah. So I just watched straight through until the end, and then I was like, what do you mean it's over? Where's the rest?
Speaking of the rest, was renewed for a 3rd season, so we will get that.
Thank God, because it did not end. It didn't wrap itself up or anything.
Again, since the day or so that it came out, was the last time I saw it, but doesn't the second season kind of like end on this weird, like it's very heavily dramatic, and then it kind of ends on a weird happy note of Bojack kind of like going on a zany adventure to rescue Todd from the cult?
Yeah, but I think he's successful, like, by the end. I don't think it drops off without him. Or maybe it does. He steals a boat.
Well, that's in rescuing Todd.
Yeah.
Who I thought I was going to hate at first.
Oh, I knew I was going to Todd. He's Jesse from Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Not only in voice. He's just Jesse if nothing bad happened to Jesse. And he was allowed to be the cinnamon roll that he was in the first season. But happier.
I thought I wasn't going to like him because I thought he was going to be too much like Jesse, and I already watched Breaking Bad, thank you. But he kind of, like you said, just kind of became, if nothing bad happens, so he's pretty much always lighthearted.
He is very resilient in staying lighthearted and positive.
Mm-hmm. Which is
not something easy to do around Bojack.
No. That, Bojack lives a sad life. Sometimes. When we were watching this a while back, I think it was when we were showing it, or you were showing it to Haley, something you've said, which I don't know if I heard said before, but was very well put, was Bojack is the worst part of everyone. How everybody does the same things as Bojack, but it's kind of like these things they don't want to admit about themselves. And yet it's just how Bojack lives his life, in a way.
I like that. I'm going to take credit for that. I'm sure I said it. Sounds like me. Sounds smart.
Well, yeah, you said it.
Oh, did I say that?
You said that. I just didn't know if I'd heard it elsewhere as well.
I don't remember saying it, but I'll take it. We have, this is kind of derailing, but I was looking at the Wikipedia page. We have the first 2 titles for season 3 episodes.
Okay.
Start Spreading the News and A Safe Space.
Huh. I wonder if that's gonna go into the same realm of, like, the safe space on the internet. That it's kind of like shielding yourself from negative comments. South Park did an episode on it recently, so also titled Safe Space, I believe.
Weird.
There was a song. So it's just present in my mind, so I'm wondering if it will be along the same sort of lines. Because Bojack, like I said earlier, does like to keep current.
It does. I don't think it'll be that literal, though.
No. It could be completely different. It could be totally misinterpreting the episode entirely.
We'll find out.
Mm-hmm. In 2016.
Apparently Weird Al will also be a guest star.
Yes. Will he be Weird Al, though?
I think that'd be great.
And if he's Weird Al,
Is
there
he an
any
animal?
sort of animal pun?
I can't think of an animal pun for his name. Weird Owl.
Yes. Sold.
Sold. So we'll find out if Weird Al is himself and if he's an animal. I hope so.
Mm. I love the celebrities.
I love the celebrities as well.
Which, like you said, is mostly animal puns.
It is mostly animal puns. One of my favorites was someone who wasn't made into an animal, and they, Todd is sort of the one sane man, despite being silly and overly positive and, you know, like the lazy guy who lives on the couch.
He's still somehow the straight man in this world.
Yeah, he really is, because he acknowledges the ridiculousness of it all. And there's a point where they're talking about Andrew Garfield, and they casually mention that Andrew Garfield loves lasagna and hates Mondays.
Oh yeah, that was...
And Todd is the only one to find it absolutely hilarious. Like, they're not afraid to sort of be silly, poke fun at themselves.
From what I was reading, if they don't... A lot of the times when they want to feature a celebrity, and they don't get the celebrity to voice them, bad things kind of happen to that celebrity.
Oh no.
Such as Andrew Garfield falls in a hole and breaks all his bones. And it was a pop star. That was another one apparently that I was reading up, but I don't remember if it was Beyonce, Rihanna, or someone else along those lines. And I'm sorry that I've offended you, Ricki, by not knowing which one it was out of those.
Well, I don't remember Beyonce being on the show. That's something I think I would remember.
No, it wasn't. They also weren't voiced by themselves.
Actually, I think Beyonce was not her voice, but I think the character was on the show, yes.
Yeah, and then something happened to her. If it was Beyonce. I think still my favorite celebrity animal pun was Cameron Crowe. The director Cameron Crowe, who's actually a raven.
Yeah, that was great.
That's my personal favorite. Also, apparently, from what I read, little fact, the Quentin Tarantula. Yeah.
Tarantino.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Was also possibly going to be Tarantuna. And, shit. Well, I didn't write that one in my notes. So it was Taran Toucan. Tarantuna or Tarantucan were the other options. They were going to go with that.
I think as much as I hated having to look at him, I think the tarantula one was funnier than either of those two. I think they made the right choice.
I kind of had a weird thing with that, and it didn't feel... Like, just where that whole plot kind of went, it didn't feel like Tarantino, from what I've read of him. Didn't seem like an accurate or even a very satirical joke on Tarantino. It was just the name, pretty much. It was at least how I saw it. Beyonce.
Yeah, she was on there. She fell down and there was money everywhere.
Yes. Voiced by Yvette Nicole Brown.
From Community.
Just like Alison Brie. Oh, yeah, Matthew Fox was a gray wolf when he made his appearance in the show. That was... Okay, it was weird in the second season. The whole J.D. Salinger. If I'm thinking the name right.
That is right.
Author of Catcher in the Rye. Just like that whole plot line of him still being alive and then going on to develop a TV game show with Mr. Peanut Butter.
Yeah, I remember this
That
was a very weird plot.
That is pretty out there. You say that as is, and I don't know where I'm going with sentences, Ricki.
Sentences are hard.
Mm-hmm. It's because they're full of words.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I love the game show that they do with J.D. Salinger and Mr. Peanut Butter was really funny to me because it's sort of, you know, like we said, it's a satirical show.
mm-hmm.
Hollywood stars and celebrities, what do they know? Do they know things? Let's find out.
Yes.
Because people love to watch their favorite celebrities or the celebrities they don't like fail and be stupid.
Mm-hmm. At least it goes to charity.
That's
in
true.
Their world. And that one had Daniel Radcliffe.
Yes, it did.
And Lance Bass as a bass fish.
Yep.
That brings up Wanda, who kind of faded out near the end of season 2. Wanda the Owl. Who's Bojack's
Lisa Kudrow?
girlfriend. Yes, sure.
Yes.
Was she Lisa Kudrow?
Yes.
Okay. So I was thinking of Princess Caroline. Who is she voiced by?
Princess Caroline is voiced by Amy Sedaris.
Yes.
Look at me go.
You are just
On fire.
nailing the names.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking words better than I. Anyways, yeah. Yeah, Lisa Kudrow's character. She kind of faded out near the end.
Yeah, she definitely did. Sort of to make room for the Fawn storyline.
Which, I think that's the best episode of the series.
It is. It's one of the best episodes. There's a lot of great episodes, but that one's...
I think it's kind of also the most standout episode.
It's the one everyone remembers, I think.
Mm-hmm. Because everybody kind of had the same...
Reaction
and the same impact.
Which was like, fuck.
Yeah.
You didn't think a show about a talking horse would make you, like, cry and need a drink and think existential thoughts about your life, but it did.
Mm-hmm. Like, we should have known when the season 2 poster is him floating through the stars.
That's true.
But Bojack gets weirdly existential at times.
It really, really does.
And
the writing is so good.
Yeah.
It's so well done.
It is. It's just such a good show. Like, it's harder to say things, and sometimes it's harder to, like, talk about things you like rather than dislike.
It's easy to talk shit.
You have less to say about good things other than, like, it's good.
It's because we as human beings love to talk shit. We all have a bitchy teenage girl sitting at a lunch table inside of us. And we love to talk shit.
So yeah, like, I do have some more notes, but I'm kind of, like, struggling for what else to talk about with Bojack, just because it is that impressive of a show. And we covered a lot of ground.
We kind of just want to say, watch it. Like,
yeah.
at this point, it's just like, what?
If you haven't watched Bojack Horseman, you're missing out.
Because there's no way to verbally say, like, every great thing about it. The characters are also so, like, as much as they represent sort of tropes and traits in our society, they're super well written and rounded.
And even that, they break it. Like, Mr. Peanut Butter is kind of the happy-go-lucky guy.
He's also really sweet and caring
and devoted, and, like, there's much more to him
than he originally
also
appears.
In the second season.
Yeah.
Where the first season he is kind of just purely the happy-go-lucky side character.
Even characters like Sarah Lynn. Sarah Lynn will get you. Sarah Lynn is basically she's the child star that went wrong. She's Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan, that type. And they really make you care about her. At first she's sort of presented as a lost cause, but they do make you care and feel bad for her.
I guess that was never, like, haven't really talked too much about Horsing Around and just the whole 90s sitcom jokes and like parallels.
Love the 90s sitcom jokes, which plays into, like you said earlier, the Bill Cosby thing.
Yeah, I guess.
The, like, John Stamos thing.
John Stamos, I misinterpreted it, but I never watched Full House. So I thought it was most about bleh, bleh, bleh.
No, but he was definitely like an Uncle Jesse type character.
If that's a Full House reference, I don't understand.
That's who John Stamos played.
Okay. I was thinking when I watched it, just also because of my lack of knowledge about Full House, I thought it was more about Bob Saget in comparison. Because I know like his career really took like a very different way after Full House. Like he became an adult comic known for saying very adult things after being on a family sitcom for 8 years.
Yeah, I think he is more the main character. Uncle Jesse was sort of the side character that everyone loves.
Okay.
That everyone's more endeared to, like the side character. He's the Fonz.
Gotcha.
He's Joey.
That's a Friends reference, right?
Yes. Watch Friends. Join the human race.
Like, just living in this house, I'm gonna eventually somehow see it all and, like, not even realize it. So, like, why rush? It's just gonna happen. Sorry to disappoint.
Anyway.
I had to describe the show to my mother, and like how it's like the premise and being like kind of like based on Bob Saget because that's how I thought the satire was going about it.
Oh, with Horsing Around, you mean?
Yeah, with Horsing Around was a parallel to Full House and Bob Saget's career rather than John Stamos, I guess.
A show
more so.
A show that Horsing Around reminds me of the most, and it might just be because it's the one I watched the most as a kid, was 8 Simple Rules.
Okay.
I see 8 Simple Rules a lot when we see the little clips of Horsing Around.
I didn't watch 8 Simple Horsing. I didn't watch Horsing Around just because it's kind of a fictional show.
Well, there is a Christmas special out, which I haven't seen yet.
I have not watched
I'm
that
gonna watch
either.
it this Christmas.
Fair enough reason to. I've been wondering about it, and as far as I know, it's played as like an episode of Horsing Around.
That's what it looks like. Which
I'm not too sure I'd be into, though. Is the thing.
I have confidence in the writers that they found a way to do it.
Yeah, for like 90s sitcoms, I didn't watch Full House. I didn't watch Boy Meets World. I didn't watch 8 Simple Rules. If anything, not Tool Time. Home Improvement was the one I watched the most of.
Of course it was.
You saying something about me?
No, it makes sense.
Does it?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
It just does. I don't know. I can't explain it.
Okay.
I watched a ridiculous amount of 90s and early 2000s sitcoms. Like, a ridiculous amount. You'd be hard-pressed to find one I didn't watch. So, to me, Horsing Around is very familiar.
Gotcha. So, like, the satire of it is probably more funny or affecting to you in a way as boy band episodes speak to you.
Boy band episodes speak to me, yes, they do, because I feel represented.
So like it speaks to you more in that angle, whereas I misinterpreted as it being about Bob Saget for half a year.
Made in the AM by One Direction. Buy it on iTunes now.
That's a shameless plug, Ricki. But I won't edit it out. Yeah. So I guess it's the same whenever there's 80s exploitation in it, modern media or 80s satire, especially horror and sci-fi. That speaks to me because it's just what I know more.
Mm-hmm.
Just different people.
I'd probably love Horsing Around if it was on. I would probably unironically love it. In all of its cheese.
Like,
and after-school special-esqueness.
just like Bojack.
Just like Bojack.
And his constant...
Bojack watches episodes of his own show every single day.
And he loves it.
He absolutely loves it.
I guess that really sets it aside from, like, other... Like, a lot of Hollywood stories would have the character hate the TV sitcom they were on.
Well, in the first episode opens with a TV interview. Bojack in a TV interview, and what he says is, I know it's really cool to shit on Horsing Around, but it was really great in its time, and he's very clear how he feels about Horsing Around and people who shit on it.
Mm-hmm. Which is very opposite of what you're used to seeing in Hollywood stories, where they're very, not just even fiction, but like a lot of times how actors kind of look down on the sitcoms they were on or the early work.
Also referenced in the first episode of the show with the dad from the Brady Bunch.
Right. Yeah. Also didn't watch the Brady Bunch.
That is one I did not watch.
I think it's a bit older.
It is much older.
I watched me some Three's Company, though.
Three's Company's great.
Will Arnett was recommended to the show. Like, he read the script, and I guess eventually became a producer, if I remember right. He read the script and wasn't completely sure whether he should sign on, so he talked to his friend Mitchell Hurwitz, who's the writer and creator of Arrested Development, which also featured Will Arnett.
Mm-hmm.
Was also the first thing I saw Will Arnett in. So he showed it to him, and Mitchell Hurwitz told him to do the show and be on board. Mm-hmm. So it was like friend blessing. Have you watched Arrested Development?
No.
You really should.
I should do a lot of things, Travell. You should watch Friends.
Okay, you got me there. So I will shut up.
Sorry, that was a little snappy.
Snappy like the turtle when he turtle top.
Oh, you're reaching.
That was reaching indeed. But another J.K. Simmons role.
Yep.
That guy is everywhere.
That guy is everywhere.
Like, and it's not like he hasn't been everywhere before this. It's just kind of like the Oscar winning is making people think about him more.
Oh, definitely. That's sort of how that works, I think.
Yeah. Because, I mean, like, Matthew McConaughey was everywhere. But a lot of... I'm sorry. It was the first parallel that popped into my head. But how people didn't like to take him seriously until he won an Oscar.
Some of us still don't.
And some of us still don't.
Some of us are holding on to that distaste for Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey, if you're listening, you creep me out.
Matthew McConaughey, I enjoy your work, but I also did not suffer through the years of bad rom-coms.
Myself and all the other preteen girls who suffered through your rom-coms at slumber parties and birthday parties alike. We remember.
Birthday parties?
Others may have forgotten.
Birthday turned into slumber party. Gotcha.
But we remember Fool's Gold. We remember Ghosts of Girlfriends Past.
We remember Fool's Gold because it's out on the DVD shelf.
We remember Failure to Launch, and we will not forget. That's all I had to say.
All right. You know, fair enough. It's fair enough. Like, I would try to come up with a parallel, but I can't, because I'm dumb.
There.
So yeah, kind of like what you said earlier, go watch BoJack Horseman, if you haven't yet. Like I said earlier, one of the greatest adult animated shows ever. I know that sounds like it's narrowing it down, but there's just so many shows. So you got to give it some sort of category.
It's becoming a really big category. I mean, it's always a category that's been around, but it's a category that's growing a lot in the last little while.
Well, that's because we had like 10 years of shit. Because Family Guy.
Yeah, that's true. Family Guy dominated for a really long time the adult animated comedy thing.
Mm-hmm.
It dominated and also sort of created an audience that was very set in the sense that animated comedies weren't accessible to anyone who didn't prescribe to that kind of humor. And now there's comedies that have more... I'm not going to be diplomatic about it. Better. There are ones with better humor. Things like Bojack Horseman or Bob's Burgers or... Archer.
Well, I guess...
Archer's an in-between.
Archer's an in-between, but like the show creators of Archer have also been around through those 10 years doing other shows.
That's true.
Although C-Lab 2021 is pretty much a stoner paradise of a show.
But the point stands.
The point stands. And I surprisingly watched the first episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force the other day. It was actually really funny.
Okay.
I did not expect that from that old of a show in the wasteland of adult entertainment, adult
Of
animated.
Teletoon Detour.
Yeah. Adult Swim.
As it used to be called. I don't think it's called that anymore.
No. I doubt it. Is Teletoon even...
A thing? Yeah, it's definitely a thing.
Well, I know it's a thing, but I haven't watched Teletoon in a number of years. I would watch Teletoon Retro, because they'd show older cartoons.
Look at you.
I know, I'm such a hipster. I don't know where to go with that. Anything else you want to say about BoJack?
It's great. Go watch it.
Sounds good.
It's self-aware and on the point, and it's commentary without being preachy.
Yes, without being preachy, but it still hits hard.
Mm-hmm.
Which is hard to do. Because a lot of commentary does feel preachy, and like it's important, but once it feels preachy, it's harder to appreciate.
But this is commentary without being preachy. I can't think of anything else to say. It's just good. Go watch it.
Sounds good. So what do you want to do for the next episode?
Oh yeah, we should decide on that so that I can forget and remember 5 minutes before we record.
No. Would we do it any other way?
No. It's how we work. It's how we operate. It's okay. I seem unprepared now, and then we'll hit certain topics, and you'll see. You'll all see.
You'll fly.
I'll fly.
You'll soar.
I will. Let's see what we got written down here for possibilities.
There is a lot. And always expanding. Speaking of which, I'm going to make a note for the future. Future episode in the bag. But not next one.
No.
Still got to decide on that.
Yeah. Let's see. We could do... Are you feeling movie or TV show?
Yeah, let's try a movie.
Let's try a movie?
We haven't done that yet.
A singular movie or a group of movies? What are you feeling? Because we've got a few groups on here. We've got a few singulars on here. We can make up our own group or singular.
I thought you were saying make up our own movie and then do an analytical podcast about our made-up movie. See how that goes. I don't know if that picked up, but Travell, when you're editing this, try and boost that as much as you can.
I don't think it picked up. It was pretty silent.
It was pretty silent, but...
Gotta keep it on the down low. We don't want the idea stolen.
I understand you.
It's too genius.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what are we gonna do? We feeling... I'm trying to narrow it down here. We feeling... Okay, so we're feeling movie.
Mm-hmm.
Are we... We could do animation remakes, adaptations into live action. We could do a certain subset of Disney. We could pick a Disney movie.
Mm-hmm.
We could do a anime film.
I'm trying to think what also is current, so it could like tie in to the current hype. We could do a Pixar movie because Good Dinosaur is coming out soon.
That's true. We could do Pixar. We could talk about. There's a lot to talk about with Pixar, so that works.
As my note describes, in brackets, and Pixar and unlimited episodes about Pixar. So, any one in particular, or any series, since that seems to be what they're doing lately?
I don't know. I feel like Pixar might be better looking at it as a group.
Like in entirety?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can always do more and more specifics later.
And we could also do multiple parts, because that is a number of movies.
Yeah, it's true.
Sounds good. We'll start our Pixar retrospective.
This is a great excuse to watch a bunch of Pixar movies.
So, next episode and maybe more, Pixar movies. From beginning till now, except maybe not Good Dinosaur, because that means we have to leave the house and go, like, pay money.
Yeah.
And, like, get a seat and, like, order popcorn, which I won't eat.
If you want us to talk about Good Dinosaur in the next episode, contact us. We have PayPal accounts. Pay for us to go see the Good Dinosaur.
And if that's not a reason,
we'll be really thankful
to listen to our podcast. I don't know what is.
We'll give you a shout out.
Mm-hmm.
I'll send you a framed picture of myself. If you pay for the shipping.
I'm at a loss for words. Alright, so you can find this podcast and more, including next week's Screenplay Sidekicks, all about the Blues Brothers, coming out next week on Monday. The Monday after this one that comes out. Just to make it sound more confusing, but also being pretty direct about what's actually happening.
Next Monday or the Monday after?
Next Monday. So this comes out on a Monday. And then the next Monday will be the Screenplay Sidekicks about Blues Brothers. And then the Monday after that will be
confused.
Pixar.
I'm confused. Is it Monday as in 4 days?
Yes.
For this one?
The 4 days of recording. Yes.
I'm dating us.
This, as we're recording, will go up 4 days from now on that Monday.
And then your Screenplay Sidekicks will go up 7 days after that.
Yes.
So, if you're listening to this, it means it's the 23rd or after. The Screenplay Sidekicks will go up on the 30th.
Yes. There we go. See, like, complicated for no reason. I don't remember if I said the website, so hardlyworkinghippies.com. You can find me on Twitter, Travell, @askew_glasses.
Oh, find me on Twitter at HRHIggy.
And that's it. Sounds good. Moving my hands slowly.
I was in a
Very famous TV show.
Bojack the horse.
Bojack the horse. Don't act like you don't know.
No one knows the words because Netflix stops the episode.